So we're now 6 months after installation, and I've just driven up for the first time, and the first impression I have is how nice it is to see how much things have filled in just 6 months. In my book, I mentioned that buying gallon plants and waiting a year for plants to mature is one of the best ways to intelligently save money, and this is a good example of that. It's we could have bought this miscanthus as a 5-gallon and paid 3 times as much, but just 6 months later, this is what we have. And I'm going to introduce Patrick, our client, and maybe you can share a little bit about what you're enjoying about the project.
I'm thrilled with the project. I've lived in this home almost 35 years, and it was nothing but a hill with a bunch of softball-sized rocks that I was forever tripping on. Weeds would grow up through them. I had no walkway at all, and up on my street, you had to kind of put in your own walkway if you wanted one. It took me 30-some years, but we have this beautiful Bluestone walkway now. So my clients are able, and my visitors are able to park here in front of the house and have a place to step out. And what you can't really appreciate is how this looks at night. When the sun goes down, the lights come on, the walkway is clearly visible. And my neighbors love it. I mean, a lot of them, I hear them driving up and I hear their car kind of stall and they just coast by the house checking out what we've done here. It's all on irrigation timer. We're just watering 3 times a week because we have the drought. But I'm just real thrilled. And a couple things I wanted that Dane gave me was my olive trees. I love olive trees. They're so ornamental. And if they're pruned properly, you just can't find a more magnificent tree. And these are fruitless olives, which is nice because then you don't get the mess below.
Show us the gate that you just put in, because after we left, Patrick went out shopping, and I enjoyed seeing this this gate, which used to be, you can see what the fence was like.
We bought the gate from the flea market, you might say. It's from India. It's about 100 years old, and I just loved it because it was rustic. The gate we had before was kind of like the fence. It just didn't look good, so we pulled it off and put this in, and I just really like it. And something else that Dane did here for us is that we're crazy about the look of the fence. So he has planted, I don't know the name of the bushes, but I love them. Just in 6 months, they're almost 3 feet tall. And Dane explained to me that they were going to eventually kind of cover the fence, which is nice.
Yeah, this is Prostentera ovalifolia variegatus, and it is one of the fastest growing narrow plants out there. And
something else, Dane, we might touch on. As IBM says, if you can't hide it, feature it.
Sure.
And you remember this walkway. It's a concrete walkway. It's cracked in about 3-4 places because of the roots of the tree. And what they came up with was to cover it in these beautiful natural bluestone, I think, is what they are. Right?
Yeah, this is bluestone, and what I like about it, or one of the things I like, is this is groutless. And who doesn't like stone more than grout?
Exactly.
And so, there's no grout. It's natural cleft, so you get more of the texture, and it's also full color, which I like more than the true color. And we might have done this a little bit different if we're starting from scratch, but rather than pay to pull the old pad out and pour a brand new pad, it was cheaper and more aesthetic to just match what we have. It's also good to feature, issues for awareness. And one of the things that's irritating Patrick are these little stones in what is, it's called blue pathway fines. And this particular product is the best compacting product that there is. It's better than DG, and this is its first year. So you can. It's got a clay binder in it, and you can remove the top pebbles. But this is a good close-up of. You can see there's always going to be just a couple of pebbles on top of the Bluestone stepping stones. Now you can, the benefits of this are it has a rustic look, and it's half or less the price than pouring a pad and doing cement, grout lines and stuff in the Bluestone. So
it'll almost prevent weeds from growing up here in the spring, correct?
Yeah, it's
and that's huge to me. I don't want a bunch of weeds that I have to work all the time.
Yeah. And so, one thing that can be done if you want a cleaner look and absolutely no pebbles bouncing around is you can do clear coats that are quite thick, even a clear coat epoxy over the whole thing. But then, that won't look quite as natural. It will have more of a gloss, which is both preferential and not as tasteful, depending on your what you like. But that is one consideration. But I do this a lot with the blue pathway fines and Bluestone, and the reason is it's gives 80% of the benefit of a mortared Bluestone look, but it's about 40% of the cost. So that's a good trade-off when you're making design decisions. And then these are beautiful cast bronze fixtures, but they're generic brand, and you get a tremendous value when you go with an unknown brand, but with a really quality manufacturing process. So cast brass is cast brass. There's no difference whether you get a Kichler cast brass fixture or one out of a factory that you've never heard of. Brass is brass. These are really well made, and they're easy to change bulbs on, and they're good scale. I mean, this is quite a big fixture. So those are some of the things. And the other is the contrast between a blue boulder. This is from Dutra Materials, which is mined in San Rafael. And you can see how striking this is. I mean, you've got the angles, you've got the two tones, you've got the light colors against the dark, and it really brings out the colors in the olive leaf. Now, if you go to the other side, you see the other local stone, which is Sonoma Fieldstone boulders, but they're never going to pop out of the brown bark. They just disappear in there. And so, I was happy that we went with this color for the big boulder.